Hey there, Pod Pals. Are you a print-on-demand creator looking to stay ahead of the curve? You want to know exactly when to launch your designs for every key season and event? How about a chuckle with an extra dad joke to brighten your day? If you said yes to any of these, then it's time to join the Print on Demand Cast VIP list. As a VIP, you'll get our free annual design calendar, an amazing guide to help you time your creations perfectly throughout the year. And of course, we'll include a bonus dad joke each week as well. Signing up couldn't be easier. Just visit printondemandcast.com/VIP and enter your email. Don't let another day of potential pass you by. Become a part of the VIP list, grab your annual design calendar, and let's dive into a year of inspired creating together. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast. This week, we're going to talk about the 8 mistakes that you might be making in POD and how to fix them. Let's get into it.
Radical! Welcome to this week's episode of the Print on Demand Cast. Each week, join the gnarly Travis and Josiah as they provide insight into the print on demand industry and equip you with the totally tubular tools, advice, and strategies you need to achieve success and hopefully have a few laughs along the way. Now on to this week's Totally Tubular show.
Welcome back to the Print on Demand Cast, coming at you live to tape, but live in this moment. We're recording live, and it's great to be with you guys. Again, joining me as always, Travis Ross from Make Your Mark Design. Travis, how the heck are you? Excited for this week's episode. What's going on? How is your week thus far?
Going pretty good. Sold a printer this morning, so had a guy come over
Nice.
this morning, and one we weren't using really as much as I thought we might when we moved back here. So, but yeah, going good. Just kind of a typical week. I was sick last week, and my wife now has it, and so she's dealing with coughing and all that junk. But other than
Nice
that,
of you to share, though.
yeah, I mean, I feel like if I, what's mine is hers, including sickness
and viral
apparently.
things. Yeah. It's how it works. It's inevitable. It's always going to happen. So, awesome. Yeah, excited to get into this week's episode. But before we do that, let's get into this week's weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right, Travis, what do you got for us?
All right. Here's the weekly dad joke. Where do mansplainers get their water?
I have no idea.
From a, well, actually.
Dear listener, I'm not sure if you got that joke. So in this case, let me explain. The humor comes from the dual meaning of the word well, which can either be used as an interjection, something a mansplainer would say, or as a noun, being a classical source of water. So there you go.
If you're offended by that joke, I completely agree.
So just a little bit of actual mansplaining to go along with the joke about mansplaining. So
Loved it. We've
alienated the women percentage of our audience, and we'll have to win them back with good information. So yeah. All right. So this week we actually have an Apple review that we said 2 weeks ago we were going to shout out on last week's show, but my schedule got a little nuts with a new job and everything last week, and I was also sick, so we didn't get a chance to shout it out. But I'm so excited we get a chance right now to shout out this review, a 5-star review from Suicidal Placenta, which in and of itself is a crazy cool name, I guess, for a user. Travis, you know this person, right? Or you know of them, or have interacted with them?
Yeah, I did a little a short discovery call with them, and
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really cool person.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, here it is. 5 stars. Suicidal Placenta on the 13th of February of 2024. An early Valentine's gift, if you will. So much value, I may just smash my face through a windshield. This is the best podcast for universal knowledge and products. I've been listening to several podcasts a day. I take notes while I'm cooking breakfast, but no longer while driving because that was almost catastrophic for me. I can't get enough. There's just so much knowledge. I'm going to crash my car trying to absorb it all. So now my strategy is to listen to my podcasts that are likely going to require notes when cooking, walking my dog, etc., and listen to interview ones when showering or driving. Thanks for taking the time to do what you do for us every week. Well, Silent Placenta, thank you for an amazing review and for also having the ability to know that driving while listening to this podcast wasn't conducive for you, because we don't want it to result in anyone going through a windshield, despite how eager or enthusiastic you seem to be about the possibility of that happening. So thank you very much.
That was awesome. I love that review. That was brightened my day when I first read it.
Absolutely.
We've now shared it with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thank you again, Suicidal Placenta, and share the show. Tell your friends to leave reviews about going through other panes of glass. I don't know, maybe don't. It was really entertaining what you said. So thank you so much for the feedback. So all right, we're going to go into a brand new segment that definitely was not decided upon 2 minutes before clicking record, and this bumper was then consequently made last minute. This was so much forethought and foresight into this last minute segment that's not last minute, called Last Week Today. So there you have it. Last Week Today. Trying, not at all a knockoff of a popular evening news show by a certain British anchor. No, maybe ours will be more factually correct. I digress. So Last Week Today, Travis, you had a solo podcast on essentials, and it was a banger. There's lots of good information in there, but there was one particular thing in particular that you wanted to kind of highlight or kind of circle back to, because it was one of those like lingering cliffhanger questions, like what is the answer to this?
Right.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, you're actually lying right now, because I wanted you to cut this part out. But hey, that's okay. I still think it's a good question. As a matter of fact, when you told me, when you listened to it and heard it, you were just as, dumbfounded as I was. But let's go ahead and just share with the listeners what we're talking about. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see this, or you can actually go to our Instagram at printondemandcast.com/Instagram and start following us. And you can see all the cool stuff that Josiah has really been taking the lead on over there. And there's some good content over there, including the clip, which Josiah is foaming at the mouth to share with you all.
Here we go.
Amazon, we're now on Etsy, we're now on Walmart, we have some Shopify, we have wish.com, we have Bonanza, we have local. I've tried to put my eggs or apples or whatever, whatever fruit or vegetable. What is an egg? Is it a seed? I'm dumbfounded right now. It's an egg. We eat it, but obviously it's a bird. Okay. I'm getting way off track.
So there you have it. And the question still remains, what is an egg? I refer to them as liquid chickens, because technically that is what they are. Is it meat? It is a seed of sorts. It's a fertilized It's not a fertilized egg. Because if it was a fertilized egg, it would be actually eating chicken, like beaks and stuff. So
unfertilized egg.
It's an unfertilized egg, then a seed of sorts it's protein.
You see?
It's a protein. That's where I'm going to end it.
I was in the exact same space as you are right now last week when I was recording. I know. I don't understand. Please, listener, share with us.
Yes.
What are we missing? What part of knowledge do we not have hold of regarding eggs? Please share.
Go to our Instagram, find that reel, comment on that reel. Let us know, what is an egg actually? And if you're like, how will I know what reel it is? You'll know what reel. The thumbnail is pretty self-explanatory. So avail yourself of that opportunity to educate us, and then we'll shout you out on next week's Last Week Today. How about that? Full
Ooh,
circle.
full
I love
circle.
it. Okay, so we're gonna go straight in to what we have for you guys for the meat and potatoes of this particular episode, this week's main event.
Main event, main event, main event. Main event, main event, main event. Main event, main event, main event.
All right, 8 mistakes you're making in pod and how to fix them. My God, that's not the title, but it rhymes. So, Travis, let's kick this thing off. Let's start with are these, would you say, in any particular order, or is it kind of like not necessarily in any particular order, just 8 mistakes that you could be making or should be aware of? Is there any strategy to the order of this, I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't necessarily think so. I think it's just, and you might not be making all of these mistakes. You might only be making 1 or 2 of them. But so yeah, there's really not an order to them. But the first one is setting up a storefront and expecting immediate success. And I think this is, encouraged by all the, the YouTubes out there and the idea behind YouTube thumbnail creation is to say something shocking and have a face that's like, and so you're constantly seeing, I made $20,000 in 30 days on whatever. And, and it's a little misleading just because, you might have made that many sales, but you didn't actually make that.
What'd you take? It wasn't,
that.
Didn't take that home.
Yeah. But I do think because of that, people think it's a get rich quick, strategy or whatever, and you can just not have any skin in the game because you don't have to pay for any of the products till they sell, and you'll just start making sales as soon as you create a channel. And I think or create a sales channel or create a personal site. You can go the whole Shopify route, branded route, paid advertising, or Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, all of the other ones, the usual suspects that we talk about all the time, or even like merch by Amazon or Redbubble or, Teespring, all these other places that you can set up a store. I think the common misconception is that you're just gonna start selling.
Yeah.
And it's just not going to happen like that. Most likely.
No, not majority of the time. I have a friend actually last night, have a group of guys that get together for like a young adults group. And we were kind of chatting, and just out of the blue, he was like, are you still in e-commerce? And I was like, tangentially, like kind of, but, not really. And he's like, well, man, I'm just kind of looking, for something just to make some quick cash on the on the side. And just, I figured like you did e-commerce. So like, I wanted to set something up just so I can make some quick money. And I was like, well, let's take a couple steps back. Just begin to kind of explain, like, that's not really, I know it's been positioned as, but it certainly isn't what it is. To your point, Travis, like all the YouTube videos and all the things that you see out there is like, I made $100,000 on 3 blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, it makes it sound cool, but I had to kindly dissuade him from the idea that this was going to be like a quick cash out kind of endeavor, because it's going to be a lot. It's a lot of work on the back end and the front end. You have to kind of know you have to be strategic. You can try and throw something at the wall, see if it sticks, but like you said, oftentimes it's not going to be how it works. Yeah.
And we said we're going to tell you these 8 things and then how you can fix this. And I think the easiest way on this one is just be patient. I mean, any business that's worth its weight is going to be challenging, and I think the reason so many people come into print on demand is because of how simple it is. You list a product on Etsy or wherever, and you got millions of eyeballs, and you didn't really have to, like I said, invest anything. But while it's simple, it's not necessarily easy. And those two things aren't synonymous. And I think that's where we get into trouble. We think something's going to be easy, and then it's not. And a lot of people fall off, and they don't keep selling because it's not easy. The idea is simple. And even some of the concepts are simple, but it's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and it's it can get frustrating when you're not seeing a lot of sales. And, depending on when you start your store, it could be, the downtime of the year where there's just not a lot of sales anyway happening in e-commerce. It could be a down economy. I mean, there's so many reasons that you might not be getting sales, but, be patient, learn how to, do some of the other things that not do some of the other things we're talking about in this episode. And eventually you'll see the results. They might not be as huge as you want, or they might be bigger than what you expected.
Right.
But the bottom line is, the way to fix this, just be patient.
Yep. Yeah. Number 2, the second mistake would be selling generic designs. And so when we say generic designs, it's kind of like stuff that everybody's doing, like Mama Bear, Papa Bear. This guy loves shirts. You know what I mean? Like just those, like the one, and you'll know what they are because there's tons of them out there, and it's just people doing the same take, but not different enough to really stand out. But it's just, if you're selling a lot of generic designs, you're going to get lost in the noise if you're not being strategic, or just taking maybe a different approach, different design completely on the same idea. But if you're just kind of copy and pasting just to have volume, you might not have a lot of success because you're not breaking through the noise.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I think, again, kind of, I don't want to like totally bash on the YouTube community, but I think it's one of, the biggest culprits, because you'll see somebody with, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000, following, put out an episode on YouTube about, this product, they'll use like an Everbee or an E-Rank or whatever, and they'll show this product right here is making $10,000 a month just by itself. And it's a mama shirt, and so then what does everybody do? Everybody goes and creates a mama shirt. And do you think all of those mama shirts are going to get $10,000, dollars a month in revenue? No, of course not. First of all, that one has plenty of, algorithm juice, if you will. Right. Algorithm loves it. And here you are with no sales, trying to duplicate something that is already like potentially even on the downward trend. You don't even know that, but, and it's you and another, 50,000 of your closest friends creating this same design because you saw it on one, on a YouTube channel. And so in my mind, if I see someone talk about something in a YouTube channel, I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, because I know so many other people are seeing that same video and, putting something out there. I think our research, while important, shouldn't be done on YouTube. It should be done by ourselves with some of the tools that we'll, be talking about in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had to say, I mean, obviously, you gave a little bit of a insight in terms of, it's on YouTube, maybe don't be so eager, but how else would you suggest if someone's like, okay, well, like, how do I fix that then? Is it just the research and using the tools that we allude to, or we have access to, or will offer, or how would you say someone is to go about fixing this particular mistake?
Yeah, I think the research is huge. And I think, you working on it, is super important, and finding those niches that there might be some demand for. And it is kind of a little bit like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
But, and the cool thing is that if you find the right niche, you don't necessarily need 10,000 Etsy buyers coming to that particular niche. You per month, you might only need 200. Because there's not very many products serving that particular niche. And those are the gold mines, because if 200 people are coming and 10% of them buy, that's 20 sales on your product if you're one of the only ones there, and then you create, if that niche is doing well, maybe you create some more products in that niche, because that, you're kind of, you found the gold, and until other people find it, you're going to be capitalizing on it. So how do you fix it? Do your research, find some good niches. If you're not good at design, outsource it. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do to not be selling generic designs. If everybody else is doing it, you're not going to make any money at it.
Yeah.
Just the way it is.
The third mistake is comparing your store to more successful stores. And I feel like Man, this is a mistake that isn't really dependent or contingent on experience level. A rookie makes this mistake, and a
Yep.
seasoned veteran in this industry makes this mistake, or any industry, and that is just that comparison aspect of, man, they're here and I want to be there, and then getting discouraged because you're not there. It's just a really toxic, like cyclical, gross
Mhm.
thought pattern, basically, that you fall into, and it prevents growth and just moving forward. Travis, I know you and I both have, lots of personal stories about what
Sure.
this particular mistake can do to your business.
Yeah, I think the key here, and I mean, to fix this, really, uh, it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally yesterday was talking to my wife Jeanette about a thing that was basically comparison, and I was, saying I'm in this rut because I feel like I can't compete with this other thing, and I know that I'm in comparison mode, and it's just eating my lunch right now. And um, I think part of the fix is to actually be able to say that out loud. Know
Sure.
that I don't want to feel this, but I do, and so I'm going to acknowledge that I feel this, and then I'm going to say, but at the same time, while I'm feeling that, I also have a very successful business. I have a very successful, personal life, all these things, and then find something to be grateful for, and turning that around. And it is a
Yeah.
mindset, and it's a discipline. It's something that is not going away anytime soon, and you'll always have to deal with it. And so being able to verbalize and then simultaneously say, yes, this is true. They have a bigger, they have more sales, that they have better design. They have these things,
Right.
but at the same time, I have this.
Yeah.
I am not one thing. I am,
Yeah.
Multiple things. I can feel multiple things at the same time. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that may or may not help anybody, but that's how
Yeah.
I kind of deal with it personally.
Sure. I think, and I've had this conversation a lot with a handful of different people the last couple of weeks, not just in context of business, but just life. And to your point, like admitting and saying it out loud, like, yeah, I know this. And that it is frustrating when 2 weeks ago, I was doing this. I knew I was thinking incorrectly about a situation, and I knew what I was thinking wasn't true, but it's where I was and how I was feeling at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super frustrating when you're aware that you're thinking like that, and you know that it's not the truth,
Mm-hmm.
but yet this is where I'm at. So I need to navigate this and just be present with what I'm feeling at the moment. To your point, you can feel multiple things. Many things can be true at once. So, but talking about it, admitting it is the first step. But there's a reason why in most programs of recovery or helping kind of break thought habits or addiction, there's like 11 other steps. So the first step is talking about it and admitting it, and then it's, to your point, doing the work to help reposition that your thought, whether it is talking to your partner, your spouse, significant other, or calling a friend on the phone and just venting, processing, and letting them just listen to you vomit emotions, whatever. But just whatever it takes to help kind of get you set, and then figuring out ways to help you counterbalance that thing. Because to Travis's point, it's a discipline, it's a muscle, it's an exercise that you have to be super disciplined in getting those reps in, because it'll never go away. Even if you master it in business some crazy how. And if that's the case, let us know. We'll have you just take over the show, quite frankly, because you're way more developed and advanced than Travis and I are. But even if you were to master it in section A of your life, this same thing pops up in every facet of life. So it's just beneficial in every area of life to really figure out how to overcome that particular comparison thing. It's a thief of joy. Just keep that in mind. So number 4, the fourth mistake, doing it all on your own. And we talked about 3 episodes ago, was it? Virtual assistants, and the crucial benefit that they can be if you are doing it all on your own. I just had a conversation with someone in a coffee meeting this morning for my day job. And she was saying that someone else that works in a company similar to hers was telling her how this person's doing the intake, the assessments, the recruiting, the marketing, the place.
Wow.
They're doing everything for their business
Hmm.
because they don't want to let go of the outcome. And I'm like, she needs a virtual assistant. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
systems stuff. Even, the pastor at my church was talking about, tell me about virtual assistants because I need it. And I'm like, dude, yeah, it'll change your life. Like, whatever you would need, it's going to be awesome. But yeah, like doing it on your own can be, you can put more pressure on yourself than is actually there. And so when you learn how to kind of offload and empower, whether it's a virtual assistant or bringing someone in person on, if you do it all on your own, your ceiling is your own capacity. And that's super, super difficult because then you're the bottleneck, and then you have to figure out how you can stop suffocating this thing that you love, basically, because you're not empowering others or bringing assistance on in the process.
Yeah, I think for what my experience has been with virtual assistants, it really does like validate some of the fears of using them or onboarding them to your business, because there's a lot of times that my virtual assistants don't do it the way I would do it. They don't do it, in my opinion, the right way, or they make a mistake or whatever. And I think, man, if I would have been doing that, we wouldn't have made that mistake. I would have done it a different way that wouldn't have resulted in this, conceivably bad outcome. And so I think if you can set your expectations to where it's going to be done about 80% as good as what you want.
Yeah.
and if you can be okay with that, because the alternative is I don't have those people and I'm doing all of the things that they're doing, and I don't have time to do any of the other things.
Yeah.
Or the work that they're doing suffers if I have to do it. Maybe it doesn't even get done because the things I'm doing are really important for the business. They are mission critical. And I have to do them. I have to be the one physically to do those tasks. And so by passing off some of the other ones, it allows me to focus on those things and then also focus on increasing and bettering the systems that my VAs are currently using to do those tasks. And I think once you get those SOPs, once you figure out your system, it's very, very good for your business to pass it along to somebody else who can run that piece. And it doesn't have to be full-time. It can be 10 hours a month. It could be, or 10 hours a week, rather, 5 hours a week. It just, whatever that thing is that can free up your time to do other things. It's just, obviously we talked about it just a couple episodes ago, but my additional thoughts on that are, if they can do it at 80% as good as I can, it's totally worth freeing up my time. Because I have 3 virtual assistants, right? 3, and then one that it works on a project basis. And that's, 120 hours a week that I don't have to do those things. I don't have another 120 hours to do what they're doing for me. I just don't. Even if it's only 80%, but 80% of what I would be able to do, I would do 0% of it because I don't have another 120 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next mistake that is on the list is selling too many variants. And I know we've talked about this a lot too, but it's one of those things that's like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. All things are permissible, not all things are beneficial. Like you're listing stuff and you're listing, well, man, I need to offer this shirt in all 32 colors, or I need to offer this design on every single item that Printful has: hats, wall arts, t-shirts, rugs, all of it. And so the problem is that your customer oftentimes will be like, there's far too many choices. Like, I'm so overwhelmed. Like, I didn't even know what off-white eggshell is a color. Like, it looks white to me, but there's 4 whites and I'm confused. So you want to really just, I think for me, what I would do when I've done is, whatever the design is, pick maybe 3 maybe 4 colors that complement and go well with the design.
Mhm.
And start there. Start with fewer options, so you're not like just inundating your customer with too many options, and they just are like, "This is hectic. I gotta take a break from this."
Yeah, I remember we had, Michael Essick on like years
Mm-hmm,
ago,
mm-hmm,
and we
mm-hmm.
were talking about, he was like, if the shirt or if the design looks good on a brown shirt, I'm just going to offer it on a brown shirt. I'm not going to
Yeah,
give them the
yeah,
option to get an orange one and a black one and a white one and
yep,
whatever. I'm just going to offer the one. I think that's great, great advice. And then on the other side, I can't tell you how many Etsy stores I've gone to, and I'll see, we'll get somebody will follow us on Instagram or whatever, and they'll have an Etsy store
yeah,
link, and I'll go, and it'll be somebody who just started, and they'll have like, you know, 3 designs, but like 75 products,
yeah,
on all of these. And it's confusing. It doesn't, the aesthetic of the store just doesn't work.
yeah,
And, so maybe it could go on multiple products. And I mean, I do a lot of things on multiple products, but
yeah.
it doesn't mean that every single design you ever do needs to go on the 75 Printify options that you have.
Right.
That's a recipe for failure every time. I think,
Yeah.
especially on Etsy, you just need to really uh, think through your offerings and really put yourself in your customer's shoes. So that is how I would fix that one.
Yeah.
Don't do as much. Don't do as many variants. Don't do whatever that is, whatever, if it's colors, if it's, options of products with similar designs or same design, whatever. Don't do as many. Don't
Yeah.
confuse your customer. Put your best foot forward and trust that it actually is your best foot. And no, people probably don't want, flip-flops with, world's best coffee drinker on it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not going to work.
Yeah. Absolutely. The next one we'll do is selling only t-shirts. So Travis, this is kind of like, maybe people are like, wait, you told me not to do too many, and now you're telling me not to only sell t-shirts. Is there a happy medium here? But basically, we've talked about this, like maximizing assets is huge. If you're already having the designs made, there's some of those designs that will go good on a coffee mug. Some of those designs that might look good on a wall art, but so it's not like just unilaterally blanketing everything you have on a t-shirt onto another substrate of some sort.
Right.
It's being cognizant and aware that, okay, I already paid to have this made, and now I'm going to put it on another product because I already have it, I already paid for it. It's making me money. The cost of the design is being paid for by the sale of a shirt. So, okay, everything after that is just positive money. This design's making me money now. So I might as well put it on other products to help maximize the effect that one-time transaction, that one time that you paid for the design or that design you made, the time you took to make it, maximize the opportunity for it to pay for itself and then start making you money.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we've done with a lot of our products. We have put a lot of things on other different, products. To be fair, there are people who out there who are just selling t-shirts and doing really, really well. And that this may not be an issue for you. But to Josiah's point, you might be able to also sell some other things. I think kind of the way to fix this idea or fix this issue is to really get into the mindset of who you are trying to serve with your store. Who is your customer? Because if you have like an everything store and you have all these different products and all these different options, you're going to miss the mark. I think backing up to kind of your customer avatar, who you're going to sell to, that can help you figure out what the best product mix is for your store, for your Shopify store, Etsy store, Amazon store, whatever it is. I think that's, to me, the best way to kind of solve this whole variance, too many variants, too few variants, what is that good product mix? Well, let's go back to the beginning, who you're trying to sell to and what is their aesthetic, what is their demographic, what are they willing to transact, give to you because of what you're providing, and why do they want that thing as
Right.
opposed to something else? I think those are good questions to answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next one, number 7, we're almost done with the list, and let's go with not doing competitive research. Now we're going to talk about the tools. Then we talked about research before, but there's so many good tools out there for people to use in terms of research, and not doing research can result in you making mistakes that you could have avoided if you would just on the front end done a little bit of research and to see what's actually selling, what designs, what niches, what is their demand. There's just so many tools that can be used for this particular reason.
Exactly. And I think, we've got a resource page on our website, printondemandcast.com/resources. And obviously those are all going to be affiliate links, but the point is that there are a lot of resources out there.
Yeah.
And, I think, particularly for Etsy, we've talked about Everbee, E-Rank, Sales Samurai, all of those things. There's a lot of great tutorials online on how to use these products and how to find needles in haystacks, like we were talking about earlier when we were talking about, niching down and finding specific things. I think you'll be surprised at how much good information is actually available to you for a subscription to one of these tools.
Yeah.
And it obviously depends on which platform you're selling on. I think a lot of people are selling on Etsy. So like an Everbee or merch. Not a merch form, E-Rank. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think either one of those is going to be a good option for you to look into.
Absolutely. And for those listening, E-Rank and Everbee, we do have links on the resource page. It's printondemandcast.com/Everbee and printondemandcast.com/E-Rank as well. Where you go if you're interested in learning more about that. Please do. Again, those tools are awesome, and they will help you help you pan for gold or strike oil or whatever analogy you want to use. But it's a lot easier to do with tools. Give yourself a head start.
Just nothing. Don't use any analogies about eggs. It's confusing.
Yeah, it's true. I'm already thinking about it, which is a mistake. So anyway, the last one is number 8, not knowing your numbers. Are you even making a profit, bro? Are you making money? Is this all just pro bono work that you're doing? What's happening? Episode 139 is in the archives here is how do I know if I'm making money? Because there's nothing worse than thinking you're making money and then not making money.
That's terrible.
So definitely want to avoid that. So Travis, what would you say if someone's like, okay, cool, but I hate mathing and I hate crunching numbers and I hate all of it. All it makes me want to cry. What's your piece of advice to those that are like, hey, I get it, but it's got to be done?
Oh gosh. Either learn to not hate it so much or just do it and still hate it, or get someone else to do it because it has to be done. You don't have that choice, or quit, because you're in business. And so you need to know your numbers. It's super important. That episode that you just mentioned, the episode 139, we really go into like how to establish what your margins are and figure that out, because it's super important. I was literally talking to or like in a chat thread about some people who had turned on some like ads and whatever, and they were just selling like crazy, and throughout the Christmas season it was just going great. And then they got to the end of the Christmas season and they realized that their ad cost actually put them in the red for every single product they sold. I think they sold like a couple hundred of this particular product that they were talking about in this thread.
Right.
They lost money. So they were like, we're selling hundreds. This is awesome. This particular product's doing great. And so glad we did all these ads. And then they like looked back at it. And they were like, oh, we lost like over $1 on every single sale we made. So, can't understate how freaking important it is for you to understand your numbers and figure out what those profit margins are. So do yourself a favor and go back and check out that episode 139. How do I know if I'm making money? It's important.
Massively important because, again, at the end of the day, you don't want to look back and go, cool, we're broke. That was a great 2-year experience. We made no money. But yeah, you're going to want to know what is happening. So, Travis, that's it. That wraps up all 8 mistakes. We did it. We made it through. We made it through the list.
It's pretty good.
How about that?
I'm impressed with me.
It's true. You usually are very impressed with yourself.
That's fair.
Which makes sense. Yeah, I was actually trying to find a bumper or a sound effect to play that we made it through the list, and now I can't. There it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's satisfying enough.
I thought you were going to do something more like this.
So you get nothing.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
this is good. Good. For those that are listening, sometimes Travis and I just have conversations through sound bites before we press record.
International effort to pressure.
So yeah, that's what it is. So okay, awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully this list was helpful and the advice given to help kind of avoid those mistakes you found helpful as well. And if you guys want to know more or want more advice, more tidbits, more insight, the one thing that you can do is you can go to printondemandcast.com/VIP and join our weekly newsletter. There you will get additional insight. We'll go a little bit deeper on some topics. Maybe there's a 9th mistake we'll get into. I don't know, but you wouldn't know either unless you actually subscribe to the VIP list. And you get a bonus dad joke and you get a design calendar. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but we're in March. So that means before you know it, April and May are going to show up. It's going to be Q2. And then you got to start thinking ahead about, okay, it's Q3 and then Q4 will be here. So preemptively plan exactly what's going to happen because there's some big holidays coming up. There's Mother's Day, there's Father's Day, there's the 4th of July. Of course, St. Patrick's Day is hitting this month. That's a huge month, huge holiday for sales and designs and stuff like that. So avail yourself of that calendar as well. It's basically a trade for you subscribing. We'll give you an email, the design calendar in exchange for you subscribing to the VIP list. So Travis, anything else before we wrap this one up?
I don't think so. Guys, go out and make money and, list awesome products and wishing you many, many, many sales in the upcoming weeks and months.
Absolutely. So we'll see you next time. For Travis, I'm Josiah, and we'll see you right here on the Print on Demand cast.
See ya.
Hey, babe. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you've got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.
In a world where businesses everywhere are trying to make print-on-demand sales, one podcast goes above and beyond every week to bring the most POD-specific information there is, all to help save the day, every day. Don't succumb to the enemies of your print-on-demand business. Sign up today for the Print on Demand Cast VIP email at printondemandcast.com/VIP. This time, it's for real.